What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and these are my NBA DFS contenders, my favorites for Wednesday, September 2nd. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Bam Adebayo, Pat Connaughton, Dennis Schroeder, Darius Bazley. They're just getting a quick mention. Steven Adams is on the outside looking in. Who will be the top 5 plays for today? It's time to find out. I'm bobbing my head too much. Coming in at number 5, he's actually 4th on FanDuel, 10th on DK, 8,200 on both sites. It's going to be Chris Paul. Game 7, we know what we're getting here. I'm putting Chris Paul in for 40 minutes. I see no way around it. If Chris Paul plays limited minutes, I don't really see a way that the Thunder win this game. Been at 1.13 fantasy points per minute in the bubble. I'm projecting him a little bit lower than that. Don't really think it matters. We're looking for somewhere north of 50 fantasy points. Seems reasonable to me on a day where he wants this one more than anybody else on the Thunder. He wants to stick it to the Rockets. He wants to stick it to James Harden. Probably wants to stick it to Daryl Morey, Mike D'Antoni, everybody involved. But it's not Tillman Fertitta. That's the UFC guy. Is it Tillman Fertitta? No, it's whatever Fertitta it is that owns the Rockets. You guys know what I'm talking about. Chris Paul, 22 points, 6.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, which is a big piece here. I think he'll enjoy the slight pace-up matchup as well. For right now, Chris Paul, he's a guy that I want to spend some salary on. There's enough value out there that 8,200 is not going to be problematic. I like Chris Paul really no matter what sort of build you're looking for. By the way, Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta, UFC guys. Tillman Fertitta, I think I'm right. I didn't look it up. This is literally like 8 seconds after I just said that. But there's a cut in the video. You guys get it. Number 4, Giannis Antetokounmpo. 11.5 on FanDuel, 11.4 on DraftKings. He's my number 5 guy on both sites. You're clearly going to have a different lineup construction if you're going to someone like Giannis because that's a monstrous salary on a 2-game slate. 36 minutes. You never know with Coach Bud, but 36 minutes feels pretty safe for Giannis. It could easily be more given that they're down 1-0 but I think this is the safest way to go. 39% usage with a baseline projection of 34 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 assists. This guy is otherworldly. 1.8 fantasy points per minute during the bubble. Look, you're looking for 70 from Giannis, which sounds like a really tough ask. I think it's even easier to get to on FanDuel at small forward. The just power forward eligibility on Giannis on DK, I don't want to say that it's limiting because it's not, you still get him there, the forward spot utility, but he played a couple minutes at center in game 1. I expect to see that more and more going through the playoffs. I'd be interested to see if they ever add that eligibility. Here's the deal. He's the best guy to pay up for today. If Russell Westbrook is back, that nerfs James Harden more than I would like. So barring any really huge disparity in ownership, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the pay-up option for today. All right, coming in number 3, 3rd on FanDuel, 2nd on DraftKings. Honestly, he's in a tie with the guy in 2nd. They're just flip-flopped in order. Other guys, 2 and then 3. We're going to get to it. 4,700 on FanDuel at small forward, 4,600 on DraftKings power forward. Crowder's going to play bigger minutes. This series fits him better. He's a perfect fit for what they're looking to do against the Bucks. So I'm giving him 33 minutes. The usage will be minimal. They're not asking Jay Crowder to create. They want him in transition and in corner threes. Talking, 12 points, 7 boards. I mention it a lot on these videos, but he's a little bit of everything guy. The real key takeaway for Crowder will be the GPP goal, which at that salary is about 31 fantasy points. I think that he is a top 2 guy at his position, small forward on FanDuel, 22% of the time. That looks pretty good. I think he is a top 8 guy on DraftKings, about 26% of the time. Both these numbers are fantastic for the slate. Crowder's been exactly what you would expect him to be over the past 30 days. He's a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy. I'm projecting him for 0.8. You're hoping for a variant outcome on the north end, but I'm really just betting on minutes here. Mid to high 4s in price tag is just not going to be enough for the amount of time that Jay Crowder is on the floor. So, Jay Crowder looks like a fantastic value for today. Now, coming in number two on FanDuel, number 3 on DK, that's Robert Covington. 6,300 on FanDuel, 5,900 on DK. He's actually been a little bit better in the bubble than what I'm projecting him for, 0.97 fantasy points per minute. I'm a little bit more pessimistic, especially with Russ back now. That's just a little bit less everybody gets. But I'm still projecting him as a 0.9 guy. The minutes are going to be there, though. He played monster minutes in game 6, rather. I see no reason that doesn't continue. I think the rotation might even get tighter. But if I give him 38 minutes, that's a 13-8 projection for a guy that I'm projecting for 3.8 stocks. It's gonna make for some big swings in Covington's potential performance. If that number comes in low, he'll have a really difficult time hitting value. If that number comes in high, he could run straight through a 40-point goal. I know 40 sounds like a lot, but on a day like today, I mean, we're talking about a 2-game slate, and this is a game 7 where I think that Covington is the type of guy I don't want to say rely on, because I don't mean it offensively, but from a time perspective, Covington, I think, is the guy that they're going to try to rely on. He fits no matter what they're doing, and in a case like this with Mike D'Antoni at the helm, I mean, how many guys are going to actually play for Houston? 7, maybe 8? The rotation is so tight that you have to bet on playing time here. It's really difficult to avoid Rockets, which means I'm in for Robert Covington. The real downside to the rest of the Rockets is Russell Westbrook being back. I don't really think that affects Covington all that much. He's going to be out there one way or the other, barring foul trouble, and that's why he's my number 2 contender. And finally, coming in, number 1, obviously, this is the assumption that Eric Bledsoe is out for today. If he ends up being in, this changes dramatically. George Hill's number 1. Basically anybody looking at the slate today should be telling you that George Hill is the best play on paper. That doesn't necessarily mean you just jam him into everything, although in theory it kind of does given his salary and given the slate. But on the surface, he's the first guy in any cash game if Eric Bledsoe is out. And then you start worrying about the rest of your roster construction in a GPP. Played really big minutes in game 1, let most people down. I'm giving him 34 here. I think there's potential for more, but this seems about safe. It really doesn't matter whether it's 30 or 34. He's still going to project as the top play of the day. 4,400 on FanDuel, 4,300 on DraftKings. He's my number 1 play on both of those sites. He needs 30 fantasy points. Now, it's not a great blueprint. He's a 0.75 guy. That's not exciting. 11.5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. It's not exciting. But you have to bet on playing time and salary. And in this case, you don't need much more from George Hill than an average performance for you to be ultimately satisfied. And if he gives you anything above average, he will be an absolute guarantee, full stop lock needed to be in your lineup if he goes for 30 plus. It's just, 1, the ownership will be there, so you'll be with everybody else. But 2, if he's north of 30, you're not going to find that much value anywhere else. You got to go to George Hill. He's the number 1 contender if Eric Bledsoe is out. But if he ends up in, pay attention to my Twitter, @Josh Engleman, where I will drop updates to this list throughout the day as we get more news. That will do it. Those are my favorites, my NBA DFS contenders for Wednesday, September 2nd. Once again, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. And do me a favor, in the comment section to this video, let me know who your number 1 contender is for today. I'm excited for these games. I'm excited for Game 7. Best of luck tonight. I will see you again tomorrow morning.